Chiropractors, stop wasting money on ads. If you're running ads and you're not doing these 5 things, you're training patients to ghost you, to not show up, and to never commit to care. Dr. Kyle Block spent over $20,000 on ads with different agencies. He did not get a single patient to convert. Then after we fixed just these 5 things in his system, he had $140,000 in 9 months. I'm Chris Beal. I went to Parker University for chiropractic school, and now I help chiros like Dr. Kyle transform their patient flow with systems that actually work. In this video, I'll break down the 5 things that transform Dr. Kyle's ads and show you exactly how you can implement them in your practice. When you fix your offer and your system, ad patients can become some of your best patients. You just need to do 3 things. Capture their attention with an offer so good they can't say no. Qualify them before they ever hit your schedule. Show them how your care can solve their problems in a way that feels natural and non-salesy. And we do that with 5 key steps. Let's break them down. Problem number 1, not enough new patient bookings. Now there's 2 systems we use to solve this one. System number 1 is our offer and lead magnet. So here's the problem. Your offer has the biggest impact on your return on investment. Okay, patients don't know or trust you yet. And so if your first touch point is book an exam or $29 x-rays, you're playing a losing game, right? Why? Because trying to get someone to come in from cold traffic without a good offer is like asking some random person out on a date and then telling them that they have to pay to take you out to a steakhouse on the first date. It's a lot of commitment. If someone's gonna make that commitment, you absolutely need to have some big positive upside, right? You have to have like, hey, I'm a really funny person. This is gonna be an amazing time. This is gonna be awesome. This is why it's worth doing this, right? So you absolutely must have lead magnet that patients actually want. Something so valuable, so irresistible, patients feel stupid saying no. And the crazy thing here is that it's far more difficult to get people to show interest in an offer than it is to convert those people, which means it has the largest potential for upside. And so here's how the math works out. If 3 out of 100 people show interest in something and 1 out of 3 buys, that is a 1%, 1 out of 100 end up buying, right? But if 30 out of 100 people show interest because the offer is so good, there's so much just value and desired things stacked into that. Now 3 to 5 people buy, right? That's a 3 to 5x increase without spending a penny more on any kind of advertising. And here's a little demo, right? We have 1 out of 25 here. We get 1 sale if we're just selling, hey, just come in for your first visit, right? But if we can stack value, and we'll talk about what that looks like, we'll get far more people to take us up on that. And so here's a little image demonstrating this. At the beginning, we have low trust people, right? And so if we just try and sell them on the thing we do without having any trust, we're only going to convert a couple people. So 1 out of 25, for this example. And then if we're able to give them something free, give them something valuable, give them something that is like a mini offer, that's a bonus, that's just something that they're like, wow, I've never seen something like this before. You'll get far more people to raise their hand and say, hey, I'm interested in getting this thing. And that's the hard part. And after we have all those people, now you have trust, right? We want to turn them into high trust individuals. Once they're high trust, we take them in and we can convert them. And so we'll end up with 3 to 5x the number of conversions, the number of total revenue coming into the practice if we're able to do this. And to be extra clear, I'm not recommending we give away free things just so we can give away free things, right? We're going to give away free things with the understanding that it builds trust and it leads to far, far more revenue on the back end, okay? If you're a patient, and here's the rule, if your schedule isn't full, your time is not valuable yet, okay? If you're scared to give away value because people don't stick around, then your retention is too low. And if you're scared that it eats into profit, your pricing is probably too low. And the math must make sense to be giving away lead magnet. But the thing is, in almost every situation I've ever seen, especially in chiro, it always makes sense to do so. And so let's give an example here. Let's say your patients spend an average of $80 per visit. They come in on average for 30 visits across their lifetime. We multiply that out. That means each patient on average is worth $2,400 to the practice. And so if we could just get more people in the door, we would end up having a lot more people spending $2,400 at our practice across their lifetime, right? Does that make sense? I hope it does. If we spend $50 to deliver a lead magnet for 30 people times $50 each, so it's $1,500 we'll end up spending on them. And we're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Sure. But if that leads to 3 to 5 extra conversions, the low end, times $2,400 per each of those conversions is $7,200 on the high end, $12,000 extra dollars in revenue. And so the total here, if we subtract what we spend from this, we end up with an extra $5,700 to $10,500 in profit. This is extra revenue you would not have collected. And this can repeat every single month. And so this is how we turn ads from an expense into a profit generator. Every $1 we spend, we want it to bring back $3+ instantly. So in that first month, when they convert to care, whatever else it is, we want to get $3 or more instantly. That's what we call patient-funded marketing. Because if you could spend $1 and instantly you got $3 back, you probably would never stop trying to spend that $1, right? So giving discounts and stacking value. Let's talk about pricing and discounts, because this is where most chiropractors get it wrong. The purpose of lead magnet is not to make you rich on the front end. That does not make any sense. The purpose is that we get patients to raise their hand, to build trust, and to step into your world. And so here's the key. Your price should be low enough to capture attention, but not so low that we look like a discount coupon clinic. And it should be anchored to real value so that patients feel like they're getting a deal, not like it's some gimmicky thing that, is fake, right? And so here's how I do that. We set a strong anchor. Let's say your exam, your adjustment, your therapy is normally valued at $250 at your practice. Okay. Start there. We discount to no-brainer price. I've seen 47 just in the numbers I tested and seen work. $47, 67, maybe 97, right? But 47 is by far the best that I've seen because it's kind of that mid-ground price. And then after that, we stack bonuses. And so don't get me wrong, discounts are great at capturing attention, but stacking value is extremely important as well. If we want to separate ourselves, let's do the things other people are not doing. We want to stack the amount of value where it's like, that's a little scary, because that's when patients are going to get those like big eyes and are like, oh my gosh, I need this thing. It's such a good deal. And we want to provide a great deal, build so much trust so that we can actually help them accomplish much bigger health goals. And that's where the revenue is going to come into the practice, right? And so here's some examples of successful lead magnets and bonuses that we can throw out that patients absolutely love. So anything that is holistic in nature, right? Those do so well. So think of like massage, think of red light, think of HBOS, so the hyperbaric oxygen chamber, soft tissue work. Those are huge. So adding in a 30-minute massage, red light session, soft tissue work, now we bump up the perceived value to $350 plus, but they're getting it for under 100. So if you're like, hey, so I'm doing a $250 thing, you're actually getting it for $47. Wow, what an insane deal. Great. And just for taking us up on this deal, we're also throwing in a bonus. You're going to get a 30-minute massage. And that's an easy thing to figure out how to deliver, build partnerships with other massage therapists around, build partnerships with red light places around. And a lot of times they'll take a new person for free on the first one, just because, it's extra business is coming to them for free. And so this is an insane deal. Spend $47 and I get first visit that's valued at $250 and a 30-minute massage. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's crazy. How could somebody say no to that? And so the result here, we capture massive attention in the ad. It positions you as high value, not cheap. Patients see you as generous, not as desperate. And remember, the math makes sense, and it has to. If your average patient is worth $2,400 over their lifetime, why would you be scared to give $50 of value upfront to bring someone that could return 50x that number? And so when your business grows from it, while patients get results, it's really a win-win situation. Just a little pro tip here. If you have a bonus that requires more time, like a massage or like a red light, don't schedule on the same time as the day one. If you do day one, day two process, it's going to overcomplicate things, okay? So start by just scheduling the consult and your day one. Take them through. When they come in for the day one, you can schedule extra bonuses for the end of the day two or schedule it for another day. But it's going to be so complex if you're like, hey, let's get your first visit scheduled and this thing. It's like, no, let's just get your first visit scheduled. And then, on that first visit, we'll schedule out that bonus. So the second system we add to increase the number of new patients we have booking is a bulletproof follow-up and nurture process. So let's talk about outreach and follow-up, because this is where most chiropractors lose money. When somebody fills out your form, they are literally saying, I'm interested. This is not spam. I want this thing. I'm curious. I want to hear more, right? I want more info. That's not wasted money. That is a patient asking for help. But here's the problem. Most people don't book right away. Not because they're not qualified. It's not because they just don't care. No, it's because they're busy. Scheduling isn't their number one priority. They want more info. They're going to forget. They move on. It's normal life. But this is why follow-up is not optional. If you're leaving it in their hands, you are leaving patients and revenue on the table, and you're not going to get all the results you could be getting from this. And so we should not feel bad following up. This is something I hear so often from docs. Patients literally are requesting more info by giving us their contact info. And this is why we follow up. Us not having the number of bookings we want isn't because patients aren't committed and are wasting our time and money. The number of times I hear that is crazy. It's also not because ads just don't work. Obviously, they work for a bunch of people. Otherwise, we'd look at everyone that is advertising and be like, oh, they're all just wasting money on ads. That's not the case. And so ads work. You just need to make them work. Okay. This includes doing the work to get potential patients who express interest, right? So let me ask a question. How many spinal screenings or events have you been into, right? Ads are like having that spinal screening and getting contact info without ever having to go out and do the screening. It is fantastic. But if you never contacted people from a screening, how the heck would we ever expect them to chase you down in their busy life? And so your business is dependent on talking to patients on the phone before booking. And so why would we ever leave this in their hands? We want our business to be in our hands, not in someone else's. And so follow up with patients until they book an appointment or until they say they aren't interested. That's okay. We're just trying to either get them scheduled or get them the info they need, and they'll turn away. That's okay. And so I want to break down the reality of the situation. Sure, you could say that patients must not want a solution that bad if they aren't chasing you down. But honestly, if your patients were the type of people to prioritize their health, they probably wouldn't be dealing with these chronic issues in the first place. They would have been proactive about finding a solution a long time ago. You have people that are coming in after years of struggling with something. They would not be in this position if they were ones to prioritize their health. And so we have to help them walk through that process. And so let's talk a little bit more tactical. How often, where do we follow up? And so number one is speed to lead. We call every single person within 5 minutes of filling out a form and submitting their info. The longer we wait, the more chances we've given them to get busy, to be distracted, to fill out another ad and just get confused when we're referencing different ads. And it's not because they're not qualified. It's because they are normal human beings with lives too. They are giving us the attention to fill out the form. So I want to return the favor. And so we call every lead within 5 minutes of them filling out our form. If the lead comes in at 8 a.m., we're on the phone. If the lead comes in at 11 a.m., we're on the phone. If the lead comes in at 4 p.m., we are on the phone. If it comes in at 7:30 p.m., we're on the phone. What do you know? And so 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., we're on the phone within 5 minutes of them calling. This is the 20% of the work that will lead to 80% of the results, right? Don't overcomplicate things. In our experience, just doing this step and not worrying about any other follow-up will lead to 80% of the bookings. And a bonus, this is going to make your life way easier because you'll get a hold of more patients, which means less follow-up throughout the week. This is actually some really big secret sauce, so share it if you want. Little pro hack here, have them schedule calls, right? And so give them a booking link to schedule a call with your team, and you can have your front desk call at those designated times. And so if you were just to do 2 things, these are the 2 I'd be doing: schedule calls and then follow up within 5 minutes of them filling out their info. Okay. And so after this, we do daily follow-up. If you want to get the other 20% of the results, right, we do daily follow-up. If they don't answer, we call every day for 7 days. We're just calling at different times, trying to get a hold of them. If they don't answer, it's not because they're ignoring you, it's because you're a random number, they don't know. And so what I do is every other day, I will actually text them as well, so they can at least get an inkling of like, oh, this is this practice. I filled out this ad, that makes so much sense, right? And so this process is extremely simple. It is not easy, but it is simple. We call them every day for 7 days, and we text them 1 time every other day for those 7 days. And so we'll end up with 3 to 4 texts and 7 calls, right? Number 3, we stop when they book or when they say no. Either they book or they tell you they're not interested. Don't stop following up until we have an answer. This isn't being pushy. We're serving people who already asked for your help. If you don't follow up, they won't get care. They'll just stay stuck, right? And so it's important for us to follow up and at least get them the information they need to make an educated decision. But that doesn't happen when we just leave people to their own devices and they're like, hey, I don't know what to do here. Little example, I filled out forms. And when I don't get a call, like sometimes I'll look at the booking link and I'm like, dang, my availability just doesn't fit this. And I can't block off or cancel this call or whatever else I have on my schedule. So I guess I just won't book. I'll hope that they shoot me another booking link and I can book out another couple weeks. But when they don't follow up with me and I can't have that conversation with them, I end up just not getting on their calendar. And it's just because I have other things going on in my life. I'm trying to help people be successful, help docs be successful in their businesses. And so sometimes it's like, hey, other things get dropped, right? And a lot of times it's calls with other people that might have something that could really help me out. And it's the same exact thing with patients. And so just remember, like, we're doing this to honor the time and attention they gave to us when they filled out the form. No other reason. If they say they're not interested, that is okay. By the way, if you want me and my team to map out how this could look in your practice, click the link in the description, book a free strategy session. On that session, we'll walk through steps A through Z of this entire process. We've helped docs like Dr. Cody from Polaris Chiropractic break past years of plateau of 15 to 20K and hit 30K per month within just 60 days of installing these systems. So if you're ready to stop guessing, finally be able to build the practice you've been chasing, schedule a free strategy session and let's see how we can make it happen. Right, problem number 2, low show rates. One of the biggest killers in ads is the low show rates, right? You run a great campaign, people book, but half of them never show up. And it's just too intense on the schedule to even justify running ads in the first place. Why is this? Because when you give away a ton of value, everybody wants it, but not everyone is actually serious. And so you end up wasting prime appointment slots for people who are never going to commit. And so what do we do to avoid this? Okay, we collect a deposit. The third system we install to stop wasting money is deposits. We collect a very small deposit before booking qualified patients, usually about $20. It's nothing crazy, but it removes the people who are only scheduling because they were uncomfortable saying, no, I don't want an appointment. And so there's 3 key steps to making this work. Number 1, we need to take the time to listen, right? We need to build rapport on the call, let patients dive deep into what they're going through. If they don't feel heard, they're not going to trust you when you ask for the deposit. And it's going to be a little bit awkward. Number 2, confirm that they're fit, right? And so we make sure that they align with your care philosophy and are actually a good match. What qualifies a good match? Well, somebody that's actually looking to solve their problem. Maybe if you don't take Medicare, Medicaid, or aren't participating, talk about that. But this really is to protect both your time and theirs. And now it is, what I would say is do not just qualify for every insurance. Like, hey, do you have insurance? Okay, no, we don't take insurance. No, don't say that. You're going to lose a lot of people that would be willing to pay cash, even though you don't take insurance. And so we want to still walk them through the whole process. Just because they have insurance doesn't make them unqualified. Because the truth is, in a lot of these cash-based practices that we work with, most of their people have insurance because most jobs that do well, that pay well, provide good insurance, they just don't take it. And that's just how they move forward. Number 3, collect a deposit. We never book a patient without collecting a deposit. This is the game changer. When somebody invests even a small amount before their first visit, they have crossed the line from just being curious to actually being committed. So they're putting their money on like, hey, no, I'm serious about this thing. People will very infrequently give the money and give their card info over if they're like not serious and don't want to book, right? So don't overstress how we ask for the deposit, that kind of deal. It could be something just as simple as, hey, we do collect a deposit to reserve your appointment time, discounts, and bonuses. What would be the best card you want to use for that? So simple. This one step alone can increase your show rate from 30 to 50% all the way up to 80 to 90%, which means you're no longer wasting ad spend on no-shows. Instead, you're meeting with patients who are serious about starting care, right? So it's a big needle mover. All right, problem number 3 is low quality patients and low conversion rates. And so system number 1, to change the angle of your ads from a single visit to a 12-week program. And here's the problem. If your ad is selling just a single visit, an exam, a $29 special, right? Patients show up expecting a quick fix. They come in for the deal, but not for the care. And we're setting the wrong expectation from day one. So stop selling single visits. Start selling solutions to their problems. We frame it as a 12-week wellness program designed to solve the root problem. Patients will walk in already expecting a process, not just a one and done adjustment, okay? And so this filters out a lot of the bad fits and sets the stage for real long-term patients. And honestly, it is more aligned with what you actually do as a chiropractor anyways. And so you'll end up with better quality patients expecting the right thing. Just a note here, we still do the offer, so we still have some kind of bonuses and discounts associated with this. That's not what we're changing, but it's the way we frame it. We frame it as, hey, this is a program that's gonna help accomplish this specific result. Now to get started, you still have this first visit with these discounts and then with these bonuses. System number 5 is our non-salesy conversion blueprint. Conversions are not about pressure or fear. I wanna make that extremely clear. Conversions are about understanding a patient's goals, and we position our care as the vehicle to get them to their goal, right? But I'll be honest here. Most chiropractors hate feeling salesy more than they hate not getting patient results. So let's walk through what that means. Like, they under-recommend care they believe in because they don't want to be told no. They don't stand firm in the values that they have, right? And so they set bad expectations for the amount of care a patient needs to get better. When patients trust them to give their honest recommendation, most chiropractors change it to fit what patients are comfortable with. Then they turn back around and complain and say, hey, my patients just got such good results. That's why they only stayed for 5 visits. My patients say they all love me. I don't sell any plans. They say they love my care, but nobody sticks around for some reason. They must all be getting 100% better. What? Right? People in my area just don't want to sign up for treatment plans. It's like I hear people saying that about insert big city, insert New York. It's not small town Oklahoma. And I hear the opposite. Hey, it's small town Kansas. It's not like Los Angeles. And they're all saying the same thing about different places. And so these are things I'm literally hearing from docs in big cities, in small towns, in urban places, in rural places, in the United States, in Canada, in practices with 30-minute visits, with 3-minute visits on the East Coast, West Coast. Bottom line, I hear the same things everywhere, okay? And by the way, if this is you, that's okay. Let's just make a change moving forward, right? And the truth is, it's not your area. It's your skill set and your ability to accurately convey what you do. And most importantly, tie what you do into how it will impact your patient's life. Okay, let me be clear. Do not ever recommend anything a patient does not need. Okay, you should be patient first, which means recommending what you know will help them get to the goals they have for their life. You're having an authentic conversation about the pros and cons of each option. That's all the conversion process is how to have a genuine, authentic conversation about the pros and cons without feeling like you're pushing them one way or another. But when someone pushes back on the recommendation and says, hey, can I try this? Don't change your care plan just because it feels uncomfortable, right? Stick with what you believe and tell them that. If a patient's like, hey, can we just do half this care? I don't think that's right. Don't feel like you're being salesy. Feel like, hey, this is actually the care that you need. I've worked with this many people. It's actually the care you need to get this result you're looking for. Now, if we're okay with changing the result that we're looking for, then you can do less care. You're not going to get there though. And so you tell me which one's more important, having less visits and getting this result, or having the full treatment plan and getting 100% to where your goal was, or at least what you told me your goal was. And so this is exactly why if we change our care plan because someone asks about it and don't break this conversation down, that destroys trust. Okay. If anything, I would trust a doc more if they stood firm and educated me on why the plan actually mattered. Okay. And yes, we do this in kindness. We do this in love. We don't just say, no, you're wrong, right? We don't do that kind of stuff, but we need to have a genuine, authentic conversation. And it's okay to challenge them a little bit in places. Just ask them, hey, what are you looking for? Here is this action. This is the outcome you're going to get from doing this action. Here's another action. Here's the outcome you're going to get. The action of doing nothing is going to get you no change in your results. And so this is exactly why we use the non-salesy conversion blueprint with the closer framework. This isn't a script. It is a list of questions and a framework to ask those questions so your consult feels natural and organized. It mirrors the way you would talk with a friend or family member that you truly care about. And so there's 6 parts of this. And each of these has so much nuance, but I'm going to break just the basics down. So it's called closer. The C, clarify why they're there, right? We uncover the patient's goals and why their goals matter. We dig into what they want, how it affects their life, and why fixing it is important. So a little trick I teach to remember this is we focus on their what their problem is. So this would be like their injury. They have migraines, right? We focus on how it affects their life. So with this, it would be something a little bit deeper. Like, okay, cool. I'm not able to play soccer with my grandkids. Got it. Okay. So that's how it affects their life. That is not the why it's important to fix. I want to make that very clear. Do not assume we know why it's important that they fix that. I always ask, hey, a lot of grandparents don't play soccer with their grandkids. This is a thought that goes through my head. And so why is it important that you're able to play soccer with your grandkids? Why is this important? Oh, we might find that the memories they have of them and their grandparents are playing soccer with them, which is a much deeper reason why this is so important. It's like, oh my gosh. So it's your memories, and you want your grandkids to remember you with these memories because that's how you remember your grandparents. Much bigger reason. Now it's like, cool. You already had this thing that you cared about so much, but maybe you didn't even realize it. And so you weren't prioritizing this problem, so you're unhappy with yourself. And you'll find that patients are depressed and unhappy and anxious and stressed about all these things that they just haven't admitted to themselves. So number 2, once we have the what they're dealing with, the how it's affecting them, and then why fixing it now is important, then we label their problem. Okay, we say their problem back to them in their own words. Restate their goal, restate why it's important, restate how their problem's affecting them, all that good stuff. And this shows that you understand exactly what they believe is holding them back. And so I would ask a question like, hey, what do you think is stopping you from getting back to doing this thing that you want to do so that you can feel this way? And after this, they'll give me the answer. I'm like, okay, so it sounds like this is the really big thing that we need to fix so that you can. And then we restate their what, their how, their why. Once we do that, we overview their past experiences, explore what they've already tried, why it didn't work, and we highlight the consequences of doing nothing so that they see they need to change. What does that mean? So we explore, hey, what have you tried to do to solve it? How'd you like that? How'd it work for you? Odds are it didn't work because they're still in for it, right? And so if they start playing it like, hey, I absolutely hated Chiro, I absolutely loved Chiro, I absolutely hated PT, I love PT, whatever it is, we're going to show them why what they tried didn't get results when we do pitch what we do. And then we're also going to share how we're the missing link to get them results, right? And in that, if they say they didn't like PT, instead of using the word PT when we say, hey, we do exercise and stretch, all that stuff, we're probably not going to do that. If they say they didn't like the exercises and stretches because we find out why they didn't like it, because they were just a lot of work, then in our pitch, we might be like, hey, this is how we're going to give you the exercise and stretches. So it only takes 2 minutes to do every day or 5 minutes to do every day. Because they might come back and say, hey, it took me 20 minutes every day and it was just too much and I just couldn't systemize it. And so you talk about how it's not that much time and you're going to help them build it into their schedule so they don't even notice that they're doing it. And so that might be part of your pitch. Hope that makes sense. Next, right, after we overview their past experiences, we sell the vacation. We paint the picture of their desired future by connecting the exam findings and your recommendations to the life they truly want. How is what you do going to change their life? When we connect it all to their what, their how, and their why. So it's cool. You have Chiro, you have red light, you have all these other services. Great. How the heck does that help me get where I want to be? And so this is a lot more focused on their goals, on the things they want, on the things they've tried that haven't worked and how we're different from that. Things they've tried worked and how we're similar to things they tried that worked that they loved. And so we're customizing this entire pitch for them. All right. And I have a bunch of different pieces of content to walk through how to do this. So there's a lot of nuance to selling the vacation, but the biggest thing is just remember that we want to talk about things in relationship to what they care about. And then number 2, we're not trying to sell them on all the different strategies we're going to use and all the different just education where we're diving super deep into the weeds of how red light and the science of it works, because they don't care. What they want is the confidence that hey, this plan will work for you. And so we want to tie things into what they understand, not just start educating them on 18 visits for this many times because of this reason. We saw the science research. No, don't get in the weeds there. Keep it a good overview. Make sure that it's addressing the concerns they have and the fears that they have in starting. Next, the E, explain away the concerns. There will be hesitations, right? And so we handle hesitations with curiosity, not with pressure. We help patients work through the doubts so they feel safe committing. And so when a patient asks hey, this sounds expensive, it's hey, I totally understand that. Yeah, what part of this do you think is expensive? I'm just being curious. Okay, just to help me understand, if you're able to solve this problem, do you think it would be worth it? If not, okay, why not? We might have missed the why. Maybe it's just not that big of a problem. It's okay, cool. And we can walk through the conversation. But if we don't ask the questions, how are we going to help them problem solve? And so lastly, we reinforce their decision. We celebrate their choice. We reinforce their wins. We build long-term confidence in care so they stay engaged and refer others, right? We want to help them have a big win to reinforce the idea that they made the right choice. There's something I talk about. It's called time to first value. What is time to first value? It is the amount of time from when someone signs up and pays you money to when they experience a significant result, okay? Experience a win, right? And so we want to decrease that time as much as possible, because if immediately after they paid money, they were like, oh, back pain's gone. Do you know how much trust they would have in you? If immediately after they paid, you're like, I didn't have migraine for a week. You know how crazy that'd be, right? And so we want to reinforce their decision. There's other things we can do. We should be figuring out the treatment and that kind of deal. But I love giving little bonuses and little thank you gifts. Little things like you can give merch and different pieces. Again, I have more content walking through this, so we'll touch on that in another video. But you can just give out little pieces of merch or something that patients will actually want. And so if you give them a little bonus, it's dang, I know I made the right choice, right? And that's how we want people feeling as soon as they pay us any money. Number 1, a lead magnet that patients actually want. Number 2, a bulletproof follow-up process. Number 3, collecting deposits before booking. Number 4, positioning your ads as a program, not as a first visit. Number 5, a non-salesy conversion blueprint that actually gets patients to say yes. Without these, you are choosing to keep attracting the wrong people, deal with high no-shows, and not get patients converted. Now, if you're tired of wasting money on ads that don't work, and you want me to personally help you install these 5 systems into your practice, then schedule a free strategy session with the link in the description. In this session, we'll map out exactly which of these 5 systems you're missing, how to build them out, and if you're not running ads yet, we'll even help you set up the fastest way to add $10,000, $20,000, even $30,000 in monthly revenue without changing how you treat your patients. This is completely free. So if you want to finally have predictable and consistent patient-funded growth systems, click the link in the description now and book your free strategy session. See you on there.